The ancient Celts believed consciousness itself could shift during Halloween, and modern neuroscience is starting to suggest they might have been onto something fascinating about how our brains actually work differently during this season.
That's such an intriguing connection between ancient wisdom and modern science. How did you first start exploring this relationship?
Well, I've been diving into research about how seasonal changes affect human consciousness, and what's really fascinating is how these traditional beliefs about the thinning of the veil during Halloween might actually describe real neurological phenomena. When you look at studies of how shorter days and changing light patterns affect our brain chemistry, there's compelling evidence that our perception really does shift during this time of year.
That makes me think about how different cultures have interpreted these seasonal changes. Could you elaborate on some specific examples?
You know what's really interesting? In ancient Celtic traditions, they noticed that during Samhain, what we now call Halloween, people reported heightened intuition and increased awareness of subtle energies. And when we look at modern research on circadian rhythms and seasonal brain chemistry changes, we're finding scientific evidence that supports these observations. The shorter days actually trigger changes in our neurotransmitter levels that can affect how we process information and perceive our environment.
That's fascinating. So you're saying there might be a biological basis for these ancient beliefs?
Exactly that. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Studies have shown that during periods of reduced daylight, our brains actually process sensory information differently. The pineal gland, which regulates our circadian rhythms, becomes more active in darkness, potentially increasing our sensitivity to subtle environmental changes. This might explain why so many cultures independently developed similar beliefs about this time of year being spiritually significant.
Well, that certainly puts a different spin on our modern Halloween celebrations. How do you think this understanding could enhance our experience of the season?
So think about traditional Halloween practices like gathering in darkness to tell stories or creating atmospheric spaces with candles and shadows. These aren't just ways to create spooky vibes. They're actually traditional techniques for shifting consciousness that align perfectly with how our brains naturally respond to these environmental changes. It's like our ancestors intuitively understood something about consciousness that we're only now beginning to verify scientifically.
That makes me think differently about why these traditions have such staying power in our culture. They're tapping into something fundamental about human experience, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's really mind-blowing? Recent studies in chronobiology suggest that our capacity for certain types of perception and processing actually increases during the darker months. It's like our brains compensate for the reduced external stimuli by becoming more sensitive to subtle variations in our environment. This might explain why so many cultures traditionally used this time of year for divination and meditation practices.
So, how do you think we can best honor both the fun and the deeper aspects of this season?
Well, I think it's about finding that sweet spot between celebration and contemplation. Maybe it's about creating intentional moments during our Halloween celebrations where we tap into these natural shifts in consciousness. For instance, instead of just telling scary stories, we might create spaces for shared meditation or reflection, working with rather than against these natural changes in our perception.
That's really beautiful. It's like we're rediscovering ancient wisdom through a modern scientific lens.
And isn't that exactly what makes this so exciting? We're at this unique point where ancient traditions and cutting-edge neuroscience are converging to tell us the same thing, that consciousness isn't fixed, that it's responsive to seasonal rhythms, and that there might be something special about this time of year after all. Just as the traditional song suggests, beyond the veil, there's no disguise. Maybe we're finally developing the scientific tools to understand what our ancestors knew intuitively.
You've given me so much to think about. What would you say is the most important takeaway from all of this?
I think the key insight is that these Halloween traditions aren't just cultural artifacts. They're sophisticated tools for working with natural shifts in human consciousness. When we understand this, it transforms Halloween from just a fun holiday into an opportunity for deeper exploration of consciousness itself. And maybe that's the real magic of this season. It's not about supernatural forces, but about our own remarkable capacity for altered states of awareness.
The unreal fades like smoke in the breeze. It whispers loud but never frees. Shadows dance in the mind's old hall. The truth outshines and breaks it all. Beyond the veil, there's no disguise. The kingdom glows within your eyes. No end, no start, just fluid streams. The real ignites eternal dreams. The seer spoke with voices low. They saw the seed and watched it grow. Through webs of lies, reality sings a symphony of timeless strings. Close your eyes, the door swings wide. The truth was always locked inside. It's not above, it's not beneath. It's the quiet hum in your heartbeat's sheath. Beyond the veil, there's no disguise. The kingdom glows within your eyes. No end, no start, just fluid streams. The real ignites eternal dreams. What isn't real can never stand. It slips like water through your hand. But what persists? A steady flame burns with love without a name.